I want to be upfront with you about something before we get into this. I am not going to tell you AI won't change your job. It probably will. And I'm not going to tell you the scary headlines are just clickbaits. Some of them are pointing at something real, genuinely. So, I'm going to give you a more useful context than just AI will take my job, because that question, it's as it's usually asked, is not actually the right question. I'm navigating this too, to be honest. Like 12 years in business and marketing, and now figuring out what it means in a world where, AI can write a first copy, a campaign in 30 seconds. What does that mean? So, yes, I'm not a techie, so we'll view it from this non tech lens and think through it together. So, let's start. What is the right question to ask? When people ask, will AI take my job? What they are usually picturing is this moment where AI probably walks in, it takes your seat, it hands you your termination letter, and politely shows you the exit door. That's not how it works, okay? And it's this understanding is probably something that's going to change everything. So let's pause and think, okay? What does AI actually do? Like, what does it do? It does not take over roles, it takes over tasks. Tasks. Now, a job is a collection of tasks, and some of those tasks are ones that AI can now do faster, cheaper, without getting tired. And some of them, like AI, genuinely cannot do. Not because there are technical limitations or anything, but because, uh, they require human judgment, human intervention, things that are fundamentally human and no machine can ever do. So, the better question or the more useful question to ask is, which parts of my job can AI do? And what does that leave for me? So, let's focus on marketing for this because I've been in that space and it's easier to explain. So, if you are a marketer, AI can now write first drafts, generate social captions, summarize research, repurpose content, and even draft email sequences. Now, these are tasks that used to take hours, okay? They still require your judgment to be good, but the mechanical part is largely gone, okay, because of AI. Now, does that mean marketing jobs are going away? No. It means the job is shifting. Like the tasks that remain, uh, strategy, positioning, client call, client relationships, creative direction, cultural judgment, those nuances, those are becoming more important because someone still has to lead, and the job changes shape. It doesn't disappear. So, what actually is at risk then? I want to be honest about what is at risk because there is a real disruption happening, and pretending that it's not is not going to help. So, what's at risk is the entry level volume work, the kind of work where the primary value you were providing was doing something faster. You know, say first drafts that required no insight, or a basic copy, or a basic data entry, simple research summaries, routine standard customer service responses. Those are the things that AI does pretty well. Not perfectly, but well enough, fast enough, cheaply enough that organizations are already restructuring around these things. If your role was mostly this kind of work, then you definitely need to get serious. Not really panic, but think about it with a clear vision. The people who are most exposed aren't really the ones who use AI, they are the ones who are doing the tasks AI does well without any judgment layer on top. So, People who are like least exposed are the ones who are always doing the judgment work, the strategy, the relationships, the creative directions, anything that requires that kind of context, experience, and accountability, which AI completely lacks. So AI is accelerating a shift that was already happening. The value of doing is declining and the value of deciding is going up. So, what makes you genuinely hard to replace? Well, remember that well read friend who we spoke about who's never left the house in one of the previous videos? That image matters here. AI has read everything, but it hasn't done anything. So it hasn't sat across from a difficult client and read the room. It hasn't made a call that turned out to be wrong and learned something different or something from that fallout. It hasn't really built trust with someone over the years and hasn't really felt the specific friction of your industry or your company or your team that you have experienced. Those things, the lived, specific, relationship based, judgment heavy parts of your work, that is something that AI cannot replace. Not because of the gap it's about to close, but because they require being present in the world. I'll give you a quick way to think about it. Okay, look at this. AI does this well. First drafts of recurring content, research summaries and synthesis, repurposing existing material, formatting, editing, metadata, answering questions from a knowledge base, generating options and variations. That too, super fast. But, and there's a big but, this is still yours. Strategy and positioning decisions, client and stakeholder relationships, creative direction and final judgment, cultural and contextual nuances, accountability for outcomes, anything requiring lived experience. The more of this column you own, the stronger your position and the harder you are to be replaced by AI. And here's the thing most people miss. Using AI well is itself a skill in this column, like knowing how to direct it, evaluating it, correcting it, building workflows around it. That judgment is not something AI can provide for itself. It is you who's doing the thinking and living the experience. So the people who thrive aren't really the one who resist AI. Um, and they are not the ones who blindly outsource everything to it either. They are the ones who use AI to clear the mechanical work and free up more of their time for the parts only they can do. So, the real threat, and it's not really what you think, it is something beyond. So, I want you to leave with the frame that actually changed how I think about this. Okay. AI probably won't take your job, but someone who uses AI better than you might. Someone who understands AI better than you might. So, not because AI made them smarter, but because they freed up that 10 hours of work, like of the mechanical work, and spent it on things that actually move careers forward. They showed up with like better thinking, faster output, maybe even more time for the human parts of things. That is the real shift. It's not like man versus machine or human versus machine. It's people who adapted versus people who waited to see if they'd have to. And you're here. You're in the first group who are ready to adapt. That's why you're probably watching this video. And that matters big time. So, if you've been carrying that quite worry around, I hope this video helped settle it a little by making it clearer. And if you've started here, you might like to check out the entire free course I have linked it in the description for your ease. And one more video in this phase, and then we are going to look at something that confuses almost everyone. Uh, so the next video is all about why AI and Google are completely different tools and when to use which one. I know it sounds simple yet confusing, funny and silly, but it's a very short and practical one. So see you there.